So let's get our winners match started. It's going first one up, gonna be Jangbi, our Protoss. And against him in the corner is going to be his teammate, Firebathero. You can see some of these smiles as well. I'm not sure how close these two are, but this should be a very interesting PvT. So let's get things started. The match itself will be Blue Storm as well, fighting. So in the top right, our green Terran, Firebathero. And in the bottom left, our orange Protoss, Jangbi. So we saw quite the interesting game from Jangbi on Zodiac against Zealous, with the way he played at his carrier and the switch as well, which caused Zealous a bit off guard. Now I don't know if he can do the same maneuver here. I would be interested to see what kind of an output he would like to do though. I would like to see like a Nexus first if possible, but likewise I would like to see what Firebathero would like to do as well. Keep in mind these two players are teammates, so they likely have a good idea of their opponent's strengths and weaknesses. Now we do see the depot, so it looks like it's going to be a block, more than likely a Rax to block that off. And we have to watch out to see if he's going to get the gas for a factory opening, or if he's going to try and get the CC behind it. The probe does scout extremely early on, and you can see it's going to get there before the depot is even getting started. It's already tickling that SCV basically. So it looks like already what 20 points of damage is going to even block the Rax from coming up. And it's already halfway done as well. So yeah, this SCV is going to have to pull back. And we can see the Rax has started in base. Now I do see what looks like a gateway started from Jangbi, so it looks like he's going to be, might be potentially going up to the gateway Nexus expand, or it might be, we might be seeing the gas soon after for just the Agoon into Nexus, or it depends, we'll see. We do see him staying the gas as well, so this will obviously mess up whatever plans Firebathero had if he was planning to go for a gas opener. So this probe is doing massive amounts of, damage between getting the gas early, almost killing the SCV, having two SCVs being pulled out, and the gateway is done. I don't see a gas just yet, so he may be more than likely backing up at this point for the Nexus first. But we will see. I do see something moving out from the gateway. So we have the first Zed out from Jangbi, and I do like this play basically. He's delayed the gas, so the vultures, the factory is going to be delayed. Now the SimCity of Firebat here isn't too bad at all either, but you'll need more than a single zealot, single marine to hold off the zealot. No gas just yet. I do see a probe moving on, and the second zealot is out, so it's going to be a gateway Nexus essentially. And the SCV will scout this, so at least, and look at the rest of the base of Jangbi, so at least Firebathero doesn't know what's up, but he's extremely exposed right now. So I mean, if what looks like Jangbi is going to do is he's going to get his units coming in. Oh, we do see an academy, so could this potentially be some kind of like Rax timing? Get a couple of Rax, go for the, I believe it's called the Deep 6. It's been a while since I've seen this build, but that is quite a bit of units, quite a bit of zealots. Against 4 Marines, this is in trouble. He's gonna have to pull back from my perspective. So five Marines is not going to kill 2 zealots basically, but they can do quite a bit of damage, and it's not a bad number either with good micro. So it looks like Jangbi is gonna go for it basically because he doesn't want him to build up the Marine camp, but there is 6 right now. Oh, and it looks like he saved, so he could have actually sniped that Marine and moved out. He just saved he just barely saves the zealot. So oh, and we do see what looks like stim probably. So a second, do we have, is that stim or is it? Okay. So it's more than likely he's gonna get a medic and then just move out with this, and the Firebat will do a lot of damage, especially with splash to the zealots. And the medic is obviously going to keep healing the unit basically. So it looks like it's a 1-Rax Academy Stim push into what I would only presume to be some kind of a factory, or some factory be coming down. But I do see only the single SCV there, so maybe it's probably going to be a CC. So it might be getting a CC behind it, and there's only just the one gateway right now. Okay, second gateway is coming up from those. Looks like does Jangbi know about this? So he has quite a bit of zealous. If he targets well, he can do a lot of. He can survive this, but Stim is done. He has to retreat basically. So you can see the Firebats are doing fantastic damage, and these are slow zealots as well, right? So Jangbi has to engage, and he essentially loses all his zealots, and for what? A single Firebat. So Jangbi is in trouble, but he does have the goon here, and the first factor is out now. Okay, so it's gonna be double goon production, and looks like, is that a cannon coming up? So this is definitely a bad situation for Jangbi at this point in time, because he's doing a lot of probes. Now the probes did do a great damage there, but we can see because of the choke, Jangbi is Firebathero is having a hard time moving the probes in, or the units in. So at this point in time, Jangbi is going to defend this. There's no doubt about it. The question is, has the damage been done? And from my perspective, I think Firebathero did a lot of damage. Was it worth it to get the Stim? It honestly depends. I feel like the damage was pretty good enough. And the CC again is almost done for Firebathero, so he'll be catching up very momentarily. And you can see he has quite the amount of units, and his second factor is going to be done behind it. Plus, he also has now the comp set that's earlier on in case Jangbi decides to do any DT strats. So from my perspective, I do prefer Firebathero's position right now. I think that was a really slick, nice maneuver that he did. Jangbi definitely wasn't the most ready for it, because as you saw, the Zealots will melt to enough Firebats, especially with the fact that you're going to have medics and Marys also helping support. Now, one thing about getting the faster fort is he can get the faster attacks, basically. So faster +1 on his units. I'm not sure if Jangbi will be doing it at this point in time, because again, he will have to recover his economy. But what else do we see? So we see the Robo. I believe I saw the fort spinning just momentarily, this one from the quick look. So third Nexus is down for Jangbi. What I would love to do for him at this point, honestly, I know he doesn't know what Firebathero is doing, but I would love for him to go a bit greedy and do like a double Nexus. Because right now he must know that Firebat has committed to this, and with the one tank he still must be far away from moving out, so he can easily get away with grabbing more than one Nexus at a time. It's extremely unlikely he will do this, because he himself did suffer quite a bit of damage after that nice Eminem attack from Firebathero, and you can see the tank count is ramping up, but one can dream. And we see the third CC from Firebathero, so he's not shy about taking a third one quickly. It reminds me of the Ruby game against Cal on this map, where Ruby went for the fast third CC. Similar idea. The opening was a bit different though, but Ruby did end up paying dearly because he wasn't ready for the Reavers. Now with the Robo being done, and we do see the Observers, I would love to see Reavers from Jangbi, but the timing is slowly passing away, or passing by. Now 4 factories up from Firebathero, the Goliath are out. Jangbi knows that there's no third just yet. So that's 8 Dragoons. A couple more gateways are going up, and we see the Robo Bay. Fantastic. So what's gonna happen is Jangbi will see this with the Observer, the CC coming down. So he's going to know that Firebathero, or at least get an idea of what Firebathero is doing. He doesn't have a ton of gateways yet, but he is getting his Reaver out. So I mean, depending on how many Goliaths there are and how many units, A frontal push with that many Dragoons and Reavers can be extremely deadly, especially considering the fact that Firebathero decided to get up a 30cc ASAP with while building up his factory count. So Reavers out, which you see the Dragoons moving. So it'll be interesting to see if Jangbi would try and do what essentially Cal was doing, where he was just dropping the Reaver near that choke, try and get a couple hits and then move out, because it'll go out of sight of the units. Forced Nexus down for Jangbi. So still Firebathero from my position is still in a nicer position. In terms of the army, he must have +1 at least up already, and we do see mines are down as well. Now this force is quite a bit, but with Reavers and good micro can definitely be broken, especially if he drops behind and directs the tank fire. The question is, will he see the shuttle? And it looks like he's going to just miss it. Or keep in mind, one other thing about this map is because of the back there's no defense or anything. If he drops a Reaver there, he can just range the units outside of the tank range. But it looks like he just took a detour. But we do have some Goliath and Marines ready there. Oh, and looks like he scouts it, but he moves out just out of range. So Firebathero is still good for now. I would have loved to see the drop behind the minerals there, because the Scarab can definitely range it. Looks like he's going to try and range the Marines, but they are a little on the further outside, and there is a tank there, I believe, that's already in siege mode. So 6 factories up for the, I believe it was still 5 or 6 gateways. There's quite a bit of goons moving though, so we do know there is a couple of mines, but there is quite a bit of tanks basically. And that observer is just going to barely survive. So 7 gateways we're up to now. Zealot speed should be done. I do see the forge spinning as well. And I believe what's going to happen is Jangbi is going to push once he gets a couple more zealots, or he maybe... So he's going to be turning this river back once he scouts the turret, obviously, and as well as the racks giving him the range. Oh, and look at that, a 4th base from Firebathero. Oh, this is really well defended by Firebathero. But see a 5th nexus from Jangbi. He knows that Firebathero is unlikely to attack at this point in time, especially with his 4th going up, but that will get denied temporarily until a couple more units move in. Now that is quite a lot of tanks, and +1 is done at this point, 1-0. It's more than likely if the second army has already been added on, it should be 2-1, it should be on the way. I would love to see what Jangbi's upgrades are at this point in time, because you know 1-0 is more than likely done. And looks like speed must be done soon, because it looks like Jangbi might be moving to take the high ground right behind Firebathero. Firebathero does have to pull back a bit and try and get a better position to siege. He does get fantastic siege. Oh, and it looks like the Reaver gets sniped. Oh, but is he gonna close in? And that's quite a bit of units, so he actually is not gonna... Oh, you know what? The Dells actually are closing in better than I thought with the tanks, so at least they'll be picking off a lot of the tanks, keeping those counts low, which is great. But Oh, and that was fantastically done as well by Jangbi. So he's going to lose some of his Dragoons, but you know what? Reducing the tank count this much is a fantastic win. 2 tanks, 2 goons, doesn't really matter who wins in this case. All that's important is that the tank count of Firebathero has been reset. And that's another tank down, basically. And what this will allow Jangbi to do is make sure his 5th is established, while Firebathero did have did get his 4th denied, and I don't see a CC on point anymore. We do see the Stargates, quite a bit of them coming up as well, but they get scouted by Firebathero. That's fantastic star sense. At this point in time, I definitely prefer Jangbi's position quite a bit. Between reducing the tank count, grabbing the economical advantage, he's in a much better position. Now I am surprised I'm not seeing any upgrades on any of his units. I could have swore I saw the forge spinning a while back. Oh, As you can see, this CC has been denied already twice or 3 times now. And so wow, that's a lot of factories. So because Jangbi reset the tank count, which is essentially the backbone of the Terran mech army, it's going to make it extremely hard for Firebathero to push, but he does have a huge amount of vultures, and vultures do extremely well against a heavy zealot army. So it looks like 1-1 is done for the Terran, and we see the fleet beacon. Okay, and we see that the second core just to get the +1/+1 attack and defense for the interceptors, essentially, just so them to be more effective. So this is quite the interesting push, because I'm only seeing up to what, 5 tanks. Oh, that's some fantastic mind drags basically, and it looks like Jangbi is going to pounce on this, especially with the high ground. He does need to reduce the tank count just a bit more, I believe, but there is quite a huge amount of tanks basically. That's a huge amount. So still considering the situation he was in, I would say it's quite massively done. He's only down to 7 tanks, the 3 Goliath and a couple of vultures. And we do see even more gateways have been added, and more units are joining the fray at this point. So all Jangbi needs to do is just buy more time with the constant prodding, and Firebathero is essentially going to slowly play into his plan. Still 0-0 only, but we do see the first 3 carriers are being made. Now the question is, does Firebathero know about that 5th base? I would have thought he would have scanned it or at least sent something up there, but he seems to be pushing towards the 3rd base. He does get his 4th up, which is a great situation for him, but considering his positioning, it almost seems like it's not a bad idea for him to actually go for the 5th base. Now those were some fantastic mind drags, but the Zealots do meld. But keep in mind, look at how many tanks there are left. There's only 5 tanks, and that's almost more pulls as well. So this is fantastically done by Jangbi again, just to keep destroying those tanks, basically lowering the tank count despite having the upgrade disadvantage. Because keep in mind, again, Jangbi just wants to build up his units slowly and get more and more carriers, because that's the first 2 carriers are already out. The armor and the attack are being researched right now, and there isn't really any more tanks for Firebathero to push. He has to wait for another round or 2 to try and do something. Now the good news for him is that he does have his 4th up, and he does know about the carriers, so he can at least build up his Goliath count. And keep in mind, he scouted the carriers extremely early, like right as they were building. So that's one plus thing on his side, plus the upgrade advantage, but he does scout the 5th base, and looks like he is moving into intercepted. Now this can leave him vulnerable to an attack on his 4th base, and potentially even the 3rd as a follow-up. But and looks like Firebathero himself is moving. Oh, and looks like his 5th was also done as well. So it's still going to be a 5 versus 4 base situation. Now this base is a bit scarce for Firebathero, but keep in mind how late this game has been going on for. And it looks like Jangbi might be going for, basically, essentially he's choosing the engagement he wants, and I think this is a fantastic position to attack from, basically. I would have loved a little more on the high ground, but I mean, if he can reduce the tank count, would be great, but he doesn't have any zealots, so he needs to pull back just to get more of the zealots in there. And his interceptor count is extremely low. He does have 3 carriers, but he needs more. He needs to get up to the 8 interceptors each, and to get to a minimum of 4 to try and slowly move things up in his favor. So, but again, keep in mind his 5th is still safe. He is going to do a bit of damage at this 4th base here. So all in all, I still prefer the Jangbi's position, despite the fact that his ground army is on the lower side. Because even in the map, you can see he's slowly building up the position, and that's 5 carriers right now. +1 is done. I would love to see a couple more gateways added, but the carriers already consume a lot of resources, so I'm doubtful that's going to happen. And even those Dragoons have bought so much time for Jangbi. The question is, what can Firebathero do here at this point? Because the interceptor count is still pretty low, but there's 5 carriers right now. And keeping in mind the architecture of the map, what this means is that Jangbi can swoop in from his 5th position with the tanks, do some damage at the expansion of Firebathero, and then move back out or target the factory. He's gonna get 1 factory down. So this is probably going to force Firebathero to go on the offensive because he's going to be pressured, but keep in mind he can also surround the carriers with Goliath from both sides, especially if he pushes the 5th. But it doesn't look like he's going to try and do this, so I'm not sure what he's planning to do. Maybe he thinks it's easy to force the carriers back, but that is quite a large Terran mech army. So his plan might just work out. Now, I only see a part of Jangbi's army, so this is a delayed response from Jangbi. I would have preferred he went for more of a timed attack, but there is about, what, 7 carriers out now? So we're just going into it's slowly going to build up and become extremely hard to deal with these carriers. So I'm preferring Jangbi's position still quite a bit, although there is more and more Goliath being added to Firebathero's army. And keep in mind, all we see here is you don't even see the 8 interceptors per each carrier. I'm seeing in some cases some of these only have or 2 or 3. That's why it looks really low. And we see the beautiful Zest from the back. So when one carrier is down, probably potentially another one. But the Zels have killed all the tanks as well. And Goliath versus Goon carrier is not a situation you can really win, honestly. Yeah, so this game at this point in time, even though it says 2-1, and I believe there is a bit of an upgrade advantage at this point in time for Firebathero, this situation is extremely in Jangbi's favor. The carrier count is fantastically up. Grand Army might not be the greatest, but he does have the economic advantage at this point. He does have the more gateways, or not more gateways, he does have his army rebuilding essentially, and the heavy Goliath army, it's not going to do as much, but look at just how many carriers there are. Oh, and that is true. Now the R Storm should be ready. This is going to do massive damage. A couple nice storms on the Goliath, especially with the pathing that the units have, will do a lot of damage. So it looks like he's actually targeting the gas. But as you can see, the Goliath are getting pushed back by the Zealots. And it looks like Jangbi's plan is basically just to buy as much time as possible here as well. And the carriers do join the fight as well. So the army for Firebathero is being diminished again once more. He only has a single tank. And it's more than likely his 5th will be denied as well, because I can believe I see a CC down there. So Jangbi is in a fantastic position to close this game out. He has the army advantage, I believe, at this point. He does have the eco advantage. The only thing, and you can see the interceptor count has been built up quite a bit. That's a huge amount of units, and he's even walking High Templars to the battle basically. As long as he keeps targeting the tanks, the Goliath will just die to the Zealot Goon, and you can see what's happening basically. So this should be the final blow at this point in time. Firebathero did play a fantastic game to start things off. I loved the 1 Rax stim timing that he did. It did more damage, a lot more damage than I anticipated, especially killing something like 10 probes. But Jangbi did do a great job coming back after that, getting up his economy, getting up the carriers, and just having, choosing the advantage, attacking when he finds it the more advantageous for him, as well as setting up the best engagements possible. And once this base goes down, I expect Firebathero to GG soon enough, especially with the pylon right in his face. Now there is quite a bit of Goliath I can see moving out, but keeping again in mind where the carriers are parked, it's going to be extremely hard for the Goliath to engage these carriers without bugging out. And Jangbi essentially using it to his advantage, and he's going for the 3rd base of Firebathero. So with this game essentially being at this point in Jangbi's favor, he's going to be winning this. He will be the first to advance to the Ro16 from this group. Very well done from him. GG. Well played, well played. So great game from both players. Loved the early game play by Firebathero, but Jangbi did have the better late game situation. So We'll see Firebathero in the finals match, and Jangbi is the first to advance.